I just think the best is yet to come. I look at the next 20 years and believe with all my heart that it's going to be better than the last 20 that we've been involved. Some of you have been in about the same time. Some of you in this room have been in longer. And some of you are brand new. And so I really dream that you walk out of here with your blinders on. Don't listen to all the riffraff and all the things that go on. Just get yourself plugged in, get a big dream, get a good attitude, as been our most important points this weekend, and work your little fannies off like there's no tomorrow. Because I promise you, if you will work this business for the next couple of years, some amazing things will happen, and you'll start earning that freedom and earning that debt-free and earning the things that is available to you. And you all excited about that? You all pumped up about that future and that possibility? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I kind of look at the organization and I think there's so much room and so much opportunity for new leadership, new blood, new speakers and new personalities to just step up, new stars, if you will, new lights, new stars, new couples that just step up and aren't you duplicate your upline, but you don't try to become your upline. What we need is that we need a new couple like you to come up with your personality and to touch an entirely different group of people. Joy and I touch some, they touch some, but we can't touch everybody. But if we can get all the walks of life of people up here, no, there is no clique here. We want everybody, anyone, young, old, doesn't make any difference to us, where you've come, where you haven't come. This is a safe place to grow. And the only thing that makes a difference is if you decide, it's going to be a blast, gang. I mean, we're going to have a ball. Diamond Club is a ball. Peter Island is a ball, everybody. It is the coolest thing. I'm just reminded of, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm kind of reminded of, you get to Peter Island and you've gone all the way through this fire, so to speak, and you've been molded and shaped into something better than you dreamed you'd ever be, and now we're all sitting on Peter Island together, or with your upline, or there with the people who you love and have worked with, who've encouraged you, and you're all sitting there and typically on a Wednesday afternoon, you'd all be at work. You'd all be doing something that was job-related or career-related or professional-related, and instead you'll be sitting there with your feet, you'll be sitting there in one of those lounge or those beach chairs, halfway in and halfway out of the water, with stingrays swimming by right in front of you, turquoise blue water. Still, because the bay has no real waves, and the company, last I was there, they handed everybody that wanted one a cell phone so that you could actually call your groups and stuff like that. And you'll be there sitting there, and you'll call some of the no's, and or better yet, you'll just kind of be sitting there and you'll just kind of lean back and you'll say, I wonder what the no's are doing today. And yet you'll just be laying there, relaxed, free, no place you have to go, no job to come back to, no debt. I mean, it is just absolutely. Peter Island to us is probably the top trip the top trip we've ever taken, because it's so much first-class, multi-billionaire type lifestyle because the families own the island, but at the same time you feel like you're just on a deserted island, beyond first class, honestly. So we've had a ball. It's been 21 years for us. The beginning of our lifestyle, the beginning of our lives, we made the comment, divorce is not an option. We feel as though if we hadn't seen this business, I think we get real with ourselves and realize we were headed down a path where it may not even have been in our hands, to be honest with you. I mean, just a mess. And now today to have a family affair, so to speak, all of our family involved, our family involved. Not very many of our brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all that, like you'll find, is amazing. But we have a very awesome situation and a lifestyle that I just don't think anybody else can touch out there. And yet there's so many more levels beyond where Joy and I are at. We're excited to constantly be achieving and working towards greater next goals that I think that's what life's all about, is to hit a goal and plant a new one, plant a new flag and go. And this last several months has been a real blessing to us, getting huge bonuses. God, I mean ridiculous bonuses. That $500,000 check, and then a dream to come true for Joy and I, which she wants to talk about, so I want to kind of mention it to you. We went out in the month of November, flew out to Stuart, Florida, because a dream of mine has been my whole life, even before the business, I wanted to own a big, I call it a boat. I think it's a yacht, but I don't want to get too crazy here, but it's a 58-foot cruiser express with I mean, it is awesome. I'll describe it to you in a minute. Because she's always wanted to have a beach home, something at the water. And so just getting another piece of real estate wasn't something we were all that fired up about. So we decided we'd get a piece of real estate we could actually move anytime we wanted. And now we have this enormous, to us it's enormous. I mean, there are bigger, as soon as you get a big boat, you go, there are bigger boats. How's that work? I mean, my goodness, I mean, that's not fair. And so there's always somebody keeping you on your toes, but we got ourselves a brand new boat that right now is in the process of being delivered from Florida. It's piggybacking on the back of a giant freighter, about a 300-400 foot freighter. In fact, if any of you want to actually see what it looks like, go to yachtpath.com and you'll be able to see how they transport really wealthy people's yachts. It is, and how we got ours on there is not. In fact, I'm going, I can't wait to see the pictures of it being lifted onto the yacht until I saw the yacht they sat ours next to on the deck of the ship, and I went, where's my boat? Where's my boat? I go, oh, it's that one. I mean, it's next to a 100-footer on this side and a 130-footer on this side. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And there's our little boat, our little 50-foot boat. Just unbelievable. So I ain't going to talk about the 100-footers until I get one, but we're fired up about our 60-footer, okay? Just leave it at that. But, we're going to have a ball. You know what we're going to do? Hey, there isn't anything we do in this business that doesn't have direct motivational power to our family, our group, our team, and now we love to share it with you because anything's possible. Your wildest dreams will come true in this business. I promise you, and it doesn't have to be a boat. It can be anything you want. But just keep your head on straight, keep your eyes focused, put your blinders on, and get rocking because it'll happen just like that. And if you don't do it, life will still happen just like that. And you'll wonder, and you'll be sitting there being one of those guys that says, man, why didn't we do it at the time when I think it's the most important time to do this business? Don't diddle-daddle around. Get busy. Best thing we ever did back when the economy in the early 90s was not in good shape was work this plan when everybody else was freaking out. Joy and I were in living rooms and dens. And today we stand on a stage and tell you about it. Why do we tell you about it? Because we want you to believe you can do anything that we've done. There is nothing we've done that you all of you in this room can do what we've done and more. In fact, we're trying to get you to understand you can do beyond what we've done because we believe we can go beyond where we've done. I give a lot of the credit. I take none of the credit. I give the credit to this woman right here. We were 100. You know how some couples, they go, oh, man, it's a 50-50 deal. We never looked at life that way. And when we got involved in this business, she had a dream, I had a dream, we had a dream. She gave it 100%, and I gave it 100%. Good attitude, big dream, and we worked this plan. And today, she's the freest woman I know. She has a ball. She is the bling leader of the business, and she's just an awesome mom. She doesn't get all bent out of shape about nothing. She's a solution-oriented person. I came into this business not ready to be a diamond like that. I had to grow at least a little. She came into this business ready to be a diamond. All she had to do was wait for me to get my act together. And now she's a great mom, great leader of thousands of people. So I will turn this over to Joy, and I'll be back up just to dream build with you a little bit about our story. And we'll wrap up probably one of the greatest weekends of your life on your way to the next one. So ain't it great? Here's my beautiful wife, Joya.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to say that the worst day in this business is still better than the best day at work. Because you will not be able to work hard enough to deserve the blessings and the lifestyle that you're going to gain from building this business. It really does blow our minds when we stop and we kind of reflect on our life. And this boat, for instance, we are having a ball with this boat. We have been going through this process since I told you we went to look at the Bentleys. Then we went to the boat show. It started at the boat show. That dream was planted that, okay, hey, this is actually going to happen. We're going to get one of these and start looking. And so it ends up that Glenn found this boat in Florida. And so while we were down at Achievers in Orlando, that was our chance. Glenn had already bought it, and I hadn't seen it yet. I'm going, I hope this is good. I hope it's not a little dinghy that he bought. I haven't seen it yet. You never know what he's going to go out and get. And so we had Brad and Julie Duncan, if you've heard that name, Bill and Sandy Hawkins. Bill was president of the IBOAI board. He and Sandy came with us. Bob and Shelley Coomer, another couple downline from Brad and Julie. We got a limo. We had champagne. We had chocolate-covered strawberries. We had pastries. And we left early in the morning from Achievers one day and drove 2 hours down to Stuart, Florida to see this boat. So to see what we got. And we were going to be able to go out on it with a captain and go in through the intercoastal waterways and dream build at the homes. I mean, we're all still dream building, and it's parked behind someone's home, because at the time it was owned by this man, and so it was parked behind his home until we could get it to California. And as we're pulling up to this cul-de-sac, I'm going, oh God, please let it be a great boat, not just a little dinghy, Because there has been times before when Glenn said, hey, this is really great, and we go there and we go, really, honey? So he did a good job. He did an awesome job, and we were so fired up, and we took pictures of everything and sent voicemails back to the group, and just everyone is so fired up about it because it's a new dream for our groups, a new dream for people that haven't seen someone buy a fun big toy like that for a while. And in my mind, I don't know if you girls are like this, I don't really necessarily care about going out on the boat. I mean, we didn't get it to go on like excursions. I want to sit on the back of the boat. I don't care if it has engines. I want to sit on the back of the boat, drinking my excess, having my music playing, sitting in the dock. In fact, our goal is to get it in the Marriott Marina of downtown San Diego. And if you've ever been there, there's the big Marriott Hotel. Achievers next year is going to be at the Hyatt Hotel in downtown San Diego, which is right next door. So for those of you who are at Achievers, we're going to show you the boat. But right in downtown, if you're at that Marriott Marina, you get to use the spa, the gym, the pool, room service of that hotel. They'll come out and bring room service right out to your boat. You go right around the hotel, and you're in the gas lamp area of San Diego. If any of you guys have been there, there's Italian restaurants and Greek restaurants and jazz music everywhere. And you walk right across the street. You're at Padre Stadium at the Petco Park, or we'll go watch the Padre game. I mean, it is it's like you're living in downtown. To me, it's a condo on the water. And so I'm so fired up. I'm going, Glenn, he'll tell all the guys get into, it has 800 cats, something or others, in an engine room. So he came back to Florida before I did to buy this boat. He took all these pictures. And I'm waiting for him at home going, okay, so send me the pictures, email me the pictures. I'm dying to see what the boat looks like, because it's huge. There's, you can fit 20 people sitting. As soon as you walk up on the steps, this whole outdoor area that's all outside, and these window things all roll up, and you can fit 20 people out there. There's 2 staterooms inside with beautiful beds, and it's all kind of beige, and it just needs a little bling. It needs a little leopard, and it needs a little bling to just jazz this thing up a little bit. But he comes home with all these pictures, and I'm going, honey, where are the pictures? We're getting ready to do a rally that day. He flew to Las Vegas. I met him in Las Vegas. We were going to do a rally that day for Las Vegas. I go, so where are the pictures? Where are the pictures of the inside so we can see what it looks like? He did not take one picture of the inside of that boat. It was all the boat being lifted out of the water and checking the engines and the engine room and the captain driving. It was all the stuff that you guys would probably think is really cool, and us girls are going, where are the bedrooms? What do they look like? But we are so fired up about it because, like you said, everything we do is to share with our group, to help lift them up, to help one more person, just to feed them, to help one more person see that they can live an amazing life. That if this is a dream of theirs, this is something they can have. And so everything we do is to share. But I want to just get back to thanking, just real quickly. Thank you for the AV guys who have made this function so great, for being willing to play that little DVD that we had, so you can just kind of get a little glimpse into our life, where we live, our kids. Our son and daughter got married at our house. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Our daughter and son-in-law got married on a rooftop down in San Diego, and their pictures were on there. Our home was on there, I think. I don't remember what else was on there. We've turned it into a vineyard now. It might have had the golf course on at the time, but we've kind of turned it into more of an Italian Tuscan vineyard now. But thank you guys for being willing to do such great things and setting up the table for us and just kind of doing some fun things that we like to do. And Joe and Cynthia Januzzi, am I saying that right? I'm afraid to say their last name. But what a little Italian stallion couple. We have had a ball. We have had a ball with them. And I mean, she and I, one of these days, we were going to meet in some garment district somewhere, and we're going to paint the New York red or L.A. red or somewhere. We're going to have a ball. What an awesome dynamite in love with this business couple. So we thank you for being our speaker hosts and being willing to take care of us. Dick Murdoch, we met when we came in. He picked us up at the airport, and I mean, what a stud he is, just to take care of things. And he just handles things and made us feel so welcome and so at home as soon as we got here. And so thank you to all of your leaders for just trusting Glenn and I to come in and share with you a little bit, just our story of what we've done in this business. Diamonds sometimes seem like celebrities. You know, they start taking pictures of you, and I go, you know what? I do that because I did it to every one of the diamonds. So people go, oh, don't you get tired of people taking pictures? I go, you know what? I did it to them all. So, you know, I guess that kind of goes along with it. But here's the difference. Celebrities are ego-driven, and diamonds are like heroes. They're not like celebrities. Heroes are motivated to serve others. Celebrities live for self, and heroes give of self. Celebrities do what's popular, and heroes do and live and act according to character and value and principles. And heroes pull us together and unite us in purpose and suggest new possibilities while reinforcing old ones. You know what? That describes our leaders and our diamonds in this business, our heroes. And so you guys are all heroes to us. Thank you so much for having your dreams. And our personal heroes, we wouldn't be where we were at if it wasn't for heroes in our lives as we got in this business and grew. And they say your upline gives you roots, and your upline gives you roots to get stability and history in your life, and they give you wings. They give you the freedom to fail and the freedom to succeed. And I guess if we could just kind of sum up what our story is right now, we just feel so grateful. We feel grateful, we feel richly blessed, I personally feel overgifted because we have such an amazing life. Glenn gives me incredible gifts and things that I would have never thought was possible until we got into this business. But, you know, this business gave us a chance to just have a new vision for our life, to have a new passion, to have something to fight for. And for some of us, it gave us a dream and a vision for the very first time in our life. I don't know if you guys are where we were at, but just as a normal, average couple, I was taught to go through school and get a job. I was a dental hygienist, and my parents were in business for themselves, and they didn't want me to be in business for myself because they worked hard. They worked from sundown to sundown, and they worked hard, and they didn't want me to work like what they had to work like. And so they told me, just go into the medical field somehow. So I became a dental hygienist. Glenn was in the insurance business. We were married when I was 20. And we were just like all the other normal, average people in our neighborhood. People think it's so funny that my kids, who were 3 and 5 years old, knew the term track house, because they knew we lived in a track house. We didn't live in a custom home or, you know, a big Tuscan home. We lived in a track house. And our kids learned that as we got in this business. And they were 3 and 5 when we got in, young. We were busy. So here we'd only been married, I think, 8 years when we had gotten into this business. And our big claim to fame was we'd made it past the 7-year itch. Because a lot of our friends were starting to get, disenchanted with being married, and we're starting to split up. And our family there was divorces all throughout our family. And we got in this business and were exposed to the people, the marriages, the families, and we said, you know what? The buck stops here. We're not going to pass down that into the legacy of our children, into our family. It's going to stop right here, and that's not going to happen anymore. So I didn't hate my job. I didn't hate my job. If someone would have come and said, you can get free from your job, well, I hadn't really thought about getting free from my job when we saw this business. I didn't mind being a dental hygienist, but if I had the choice to be home with my kids or go to work every day, I would choose to be home with my kids, hands down. They would win hands down, not even taking a second thought if I could replace my income, but we needed my money. So we needed that money of my income. So that was the whole purpose for me, was just to get home with my kids. If I could replace my income, I would be home. Glenn and I loved life. We loved playing. Our best friends were Larry and Julie Koning, who were diamonds in our business. He was an OBGYN in town, and so they were making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year, I think, at the time. And so we were living their lifestyle on our income. So we were going deeper and deeper and deeper in debt because they would want to go to Palm Springs and go golfing. They'd want to go to Mammoth and go snow skiing. They'd want to go to the river and go water skiing. We bought jet skis and Sea-Doos on credit. We were living on credit cards. And so it finally got to the point where it was so frustrating because there was all these bills that would come in, and I was the one paying them. And Glenn just knew when I was trying to pay something, if I was sitting at the kitchen counter just kind of crying because I didn't know how to rob Peter to pay Paul. I just was not good at juggling. I wasn't good at the money stuff like that. That's why I was a dental hygienist. You take those aptitude tests and they figure out what your strengths are. That wasn't one of them, being able to budget out money like that and live the kind of life we wanted to live on that kind of income. We would go walk through dream homes. Glenn's mom lived down in Newport Beach and Dana Point, and so we would go walk through dream homes. She was a realtor down there, and there are amazing homes down. I'm sure where you live, I'm sure there is too. Southern California, Dana Point. I was telling you today, those big Tuscan homes down in what's it called, Crystal Cove. Oh my God, they're just amazing homes. Well, back when we were dead broke, with no option of living like that, we'd go walk through those homes and just know that there was no way we would ever live in anything like that. There just wasn't, we had to make do with our little track house, and we'd paint and we'd wallpaper, and it still looked like the same old track house that we all lived in. It wasn't getting any better. So we had bills coming in. We finally had IRS problems. There was a time when I was even working as the hygienist, and my boss couldn't give me a paycheck because he had to send it directly, and I guess it was called, I don't know if it was called garnish, or I forget what it was called, what they did to me. But he had to just send my paycheck directly into the government. He couldn't give it to me. So now I was leaving my kids and working for free. Well, that got a little irritating, by the way. And you know what? We just lost our joy. It was kind of like they talk about, you put a frog in a pot of cold water, gently turn up the heat, just keep it going up, 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 and pretty soon that little frog is boiled and never knew what hit him. That's kind of where we were. We were kind of in this environment where there really wasn't any way out of it. There wasn't a way to overwhelm ourselves with money. Our jobs weren't intended to overwhelm us with money so we could get all of our bills paid off and live a debt-free life and still play like we wanted to play and live like we wanted to live. They weren't intended to do that. So when we saw this business, I guess that's what struck us. That's what struck me. When I saw it, I heard about the dreams. I heard about these, and I don't even like motorhomes, but I heard about motorhomes. All these diamonds going places in their Prevost motorhomes, and having vacation homes and big pools and driving these Mercedes and cars and jewelry and furs. And I mean, that was such a different life than I ever even thought was available. And we saw those dreams and saw this business and went, you know what? This is our chance. This is our chance to be able to live like that, to be able to get rid of our bills, to be able to live the life of our dreams. And so we made a decision. When we saw this business, they said put a 2 to 3 year burst of energy into this business. 2 to 3 years burst of energy. And so we made those decisions to make this business a priority. And like I told you earlier today, usually it's the one that sets the calendar up and the activities that you do. We just stopped it. We go, there is no reason for us to be doing that. Well, yeah, we'll go out to dinner and go to a movie with our friends if we don't have a plan. But showing plans trumped everything. Showing plans came first. I had to be flexible. I had to be willing to cancel things at the last moment. And there were times when I was scheduled to play bunco. I don't know if you guys have bunco back here. Girls' game where we all get together and eat appetizers and talk about our husbands, really is what it was. And I had to be willing to call in and say, you know what, you're going to have to get a sub for me. We have a plan tonight. And our neighbors all thought we were nuts, thought we were crazy, but I had to be willing to cancel things. If we had a plan, that plan took precedence over anything. It's funny, Glenn has a brother who's an anesthesiologist, and I can remember at dinners, at Christmas, at Thanksgiving, if he would get a call that he had to get to the OR, it was always like, oh, Gary, the anesthesiologist, isn't that great? He gets to go to the hospital, and he's helping people. Isn't that awesome? Well, if we had to miss a birthday party or something because we had a plan to show and a dream to share and a life to save, it wasn't, oh, isn't that great, Glenn and Joy? It was like, oh, Glenn and Joy are leaving again. But in our hearts, we saw ourselves just like Gary, where we were going to save a life. We were going into the OR. There was people that needed us to come show them this plan, and that was our mindset. So we made this business a priority, and we fought through going diamond. I mean, it wasn't, and no, our group didn't know it, our family didn't, no one knew it, but behind closed doors, we were stressed because we were bouncing checks, we were stressed because of our bills, we were frustrated and stressed, and our upline just kept saying, you got to overwhelm yourself with money. Just keep your blinders on and keep your ears plugged, and you keep steady in this business. There's crazy things that happened to us as we were building this business. There was a time when we were rubies, and see, we weren't trying to get out of debt as we were building. We were building this business to go diamond so we could overwhelm ourselves with money and pay everything off. Some people try to scrimp and save and pay these things off as you're growing. If you're growing fast, you need to keep feeding the baby, because you might have to fly to Vegas to show plans. You might have to fly to Michigan and fly here. And so that wasn't a time for us to try to get out of debt during that time. And so crazy things happened. We were rubies, and we were on our way to church one Saturday morning, and we happened to get the mail, which that's a hint to never get the mail on your way to church. And so we got the mail. We had 13 bounced checks, and Glenn was opening them up as we were going. And we went in, sat down in church for 5 minutes. He went, I can't even stay here. We've got to leave. And we left. And that night, he showed one of the most passionate plans he'd ever showed. We were frustrated. We were fighting. He couldn't believe how we bounced these checks. How did this happen? And he showed one of the most passionate plans, that couple who showed that night went emerald in our business. And so we just, you know what, we built through it. We pushed through those storms. We didn't wait. Some people say, well, I got to wait until things all get settled and everything gets smooth. You know what, you got to build through it, because it's never going to get smooth. It's never going to be over. There's always going to be something that takes the place. As soon as one thing smooths out, there's going to be something else that comes up. So don't wait for things to get smooth to build this business. Just build through it. Funny things that's happened in our business. We had this one couple, just a darling little couple we met. She was a waitress, and he was a little machinist that had a big long beard, couldn't even look us in the eye, and he wanted to build this business. He wouldn't look, when we were showing him the plan, he wouldn't even look at us. We were showing him the plan, and Glenn would go, Jim, I want you to listen to these tapes. And Jim would push him to Brenda, they want you to listen to the tapes. And he wouldn't look at us. He called up the very next morning after we showed him the plan and said, Glenn, can you help me make $3,200 a month? Because that's what would replace his income so he could come home from work. So they started building. They went Ruby in 9 months. But even as they were on their way to Ruby, Glenn would go, okay, we would show plans for them. Brenda would do the contacting. We would go in with the two of them. We'd show plans for them and get their group going. And they were doing awesome. And Jim's self-image was improving, and he shaved his beard off, and all of a sudden he had these big blue eyes and this gorgeous smile. It was like, oh my gosh, you were in there? It's like, oh, you are cute. It was great. And he'd go, one night Glenn went, Jim, I want you to show it tonight. And Brenda goes, no, Glenn, he can't do it, no. And so here's his own wife saying, no, he can't do it, don't make him do it. And so we got over that, and he ended up showing it and got her to shut up, and they went emerald, and it was great. It was very funny. But we've gone through all kinds of stuff like that. There was a time you think, oh, look at how they can get up here and speak, and this is, like Glenn said, this is not our favorite thing. We still get nervous. We feel like we're not giving you enough. And there was a time when Glenn used to faint. And he's fainted at house plans. Even once we were diamonds, he would go get these like anxiety attacks. And so I would be thinking, okay, if something happens to him, I'm going to have to think, is there something that's happened in our business, somebody that's done something, a fun story? Is there something I can get up and tell, some filler, while he gets himself together and gets it back together? And he just had to grow through it. And people tell me, tell that story, because it gives us hope. So, okay, it's not demeaning for him, hopefully, because it's really awesome. But so then, now that he was doing that, then I kind of started getting tense. And it's funny, because being the real shy one, the one who never got up and talked, I actually felt pretty comfortable getting up on stage and talking, because I could see somebody's eyes and I could talk to somebody. I didn't feel like I was talking to a crowd. So now I started getting nervous. And starting getting shaky and getting nervous when we were going on stage, because thinking, what's going to happen? If something happens to him, I got to think of more stuff. And so his brother, who's this doctor, he said, okay, there's this pill that people take, like entertainers. They take this pill, and it slows down your heart rate and calms you down so that you don't get anxiety and you don't get nervous right before you go on and perform. So I thought he said, take one now and take one 30 minutes later. Well, evidently, that's not what he said. And so Glenn took his pill, and I took mine, and then 30 minutes later, I took another one. Well, when we got up, it was like a Go Diamond weekend. We're like new diamonds, and we're getting up and speaking, and I remember thinking, wah, 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 wah. I was like in slow motion. It's like, what is happening? I felt like my whole body was the blood. I could almost feel it surging through my veins. Oh, it was amazing. Finally, I don't know what I said that day. I have no idea what I said that night, but finally we got off, and I go, Gary, I feel like everything is in slow motion. He goes, well, you took just one pill, right? I go, well, one, and then the 30 minutes later, he goes, no, you can't do that, and they gave me orange juice and all kinds of stuff. And we go, okay, you know what? This business has helped us get a good enough self-image that we can work through this, and we can fight through this. So we've never taken any of those pills again, thank goodness. But we've gone through weird stuff. Everyone, you just go through it. Whatever your journey is what it is. Your road is what it is. Don't compare it with somebody else's. You go through yours, you tell your story, you build your business, and you get free. It doesn't matter. All the little insignificant things don't matter. And so our uplines just said, keep the wolves away from the door. Keep the wolves away from the door just a little bit longer. Do your burst of energy. Just keep growing. Keep your blinders on. Don't stop. Keep that momentum going in your business. And there's lots of wolves that come into our life. There's well-meaning family and friends. There's bills. There's job promotions. There's investment opportunities. There's illnesses. There's all kinds of things that I call wolves that come in to steal your dream. And we just had to keep those things away from our door and put this burst of energy in. And like we said, I guess I just want to share, in 5 months I was able to quit my job. So in 5 months I replaced my income and have grown up with my kids ever since then. And what else would have done that? Here I go through dental school. My parents go, oh, you're giving up dentistry? Oh, my gosh. I go, Mom, I replaced my income. Is the goal for me to, make $500,000 a year, or to make, the $1,500, $2,000 a month as a dental hygienist? What's more important? And so we kind of had to get our parents to realize that I wasn't giving up my whole life and doing everything. My mom would tell me, here's my mom. She owned a fast food Mexican eating place in Needles, California. Have you ever heard of Needles? Hottest spot in the nation most of the time. My dad built it for her so they never had to work for anybody else. She sold tacos, burritos, owned it for 40 years, put us all through private school, always paid cash for everything, owned cars, okay? That's how my parents lived. That's what she did. She asked me, so people still buy that stuff? I go, well, Mom, do people still buy those burritos? Do they still come down there to get tacos and things from you? You're kidding. And so I finally had to make her realize, hey, it's anyway stuff. It's anyway money. It's stuff we're going to use whether we live in a mobile home or we live in a mansion, whether we're 20 or whether we're 80. It's products that we all use. People are going to keep eating your tacos, Mom. They're going to keep brushing their teeth and washing their clothes. And I just, moms you got to love them, though. But so the rewards of this business have been amazing. I know Glenn wants to tell you a little bit more of our story, but so in our 4th year in this business, after we've gone diamond, went diamond in 3.5 years, our 4th year in this business, we were able to pay off everything. All of our bills, all of our debts, all of our credit cards. We'd leave voicemail messages for our group, and credit card number 1 paid off, and credit card number 2, and car paid off, and we were it was like a freedom update for our group to know that the dream was alive and well, and there was money to be made in this business. I've heard Bill Hawkins say, hey, even if there were no friends, I'd build this business for the money, because we got in to get free. We didn't get in to get new friends. That just happened to be a byproduct of this business. We got in to make money and get free from our jobs and pay our bills. And so in our 4th year of this business, we got everything paid off, all the IRS stuff, the bills, and I don't know what your dreams are, girls, but for me, the dream home, I love decorating. I'm very creative. I love painting. I'll paint things around windows. And so we bought this home in Temecula where, is it John and Sue, the couple that was here? They live like within 5 minutes from us. This is amazing, and we've never met them. And I tell them, I go, yeah, we walk down 2 miles to this little coffee shop every morning. And they go, we know where that's at. But we bought, out in the wine country of Temecula, 14 acres, a big 5,000 square foot home, and when we moved in, we had the kitchen gutted, and we had an all-new cherry wood kitchen put in with like chicken wire in the cabinets and a big hearth, and we have cool things painted. We have an artist come, and she painted all the walls, ragged and painted and did stuff over all the walls, and did original artwork on the fireplace hearth in the kitchen, and we just had amazing things done at our house. It was awesome to be able to not have to use all Grandma's furniture, and to build our furniture with cinder block and plywood and all the things that we were doing before we got in this business, to be able to go out and buy incredible furniture. And at the time I was into antiques. I was kind of going more of kind of a French look, and I had a gal that was helping me go to these French places and get French antiques and big sideboards and awesome big carved mirrors that were 100 and 200 years old, and being able to go. I would come home sometime with whole rooms full of furniture and put them together, and it was the funnest. It's just a fun thing. And I like to redo stuff. So if Glenn leaves town, he knows when he comes back, there's either going to be a room changed around, a wall painted, something's going to be different. So he has to watch where he walks, because I could have something sitting in where he used to walk in his path. And it's very fun. But he gives me the freedom to do that, the freedom to just have fun and redecorate and redo things like that. We started out with horses, because out in the wine country, it's also the Valley of the Horses. And so I thought that a black and white paint would be a great accessory item for our home. And so Glenn bought me a mother and its baby. Well, I didn't realize that you had to feed them at certain times. And so we've actually had a couple that we hired that came out from Philadelphia, I think it was, and Pittsburgh or somewhere, and they lived in this caretaker's home on our property, and she would take care of the horses and work them and things, and then they left. Our daughter started getting into like hunter jumper things and going over fences and doing, so she got into that. So we got her an English riding horse and kind of got into those things. Our son had gotten into motocross riding, a little YZ80. We bought him, and he would do motocross. And here I am as his mom, sitting at the races going, Trevor, let him pass you. Come on, slow, let him go around you. So that didn't work out real well. But we had a motocross track in our backyard, and we had whoops and jumps and tabletops and all kinds of cool stuff out in the back, because we had 14 acres. You can do a lot with 14 acres. Glenn is really into golf, so we had 3 tee boxes with 1 green on the property. We had 2 big lakes, and so they were all different lengths of, where you could drive from and shoot from and things. over the lakes. So we did that. We had a helicopter pad put on the property. We had a tennis court because Glenn used to play a lot. Glenn, both of us used to play a lot of tennis, so we had a tennis court built on. Then our kids kind of got out of the horses and got out of the bikes and got into what's that? Volleyball. So we had a volleyball thing put on, and then the home came with a pool. In the old Amagram, when it showed us EDCs years ago when we first moved to Temecula, I called it the condo pool because it was just a big rectangular pool with a bar down the middle. It looked like it should be in a condo unit and not in a custom home. So one day I hear a tractor and I see Glenn out in the back digging up this pool. And then he digs it up and fills it all in. And then I see him with a cup of chalk, and he's drawing where he wants our pool to be. So at the time when we built this, I think it was about, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or so, we had the largest pool in Riverside County. I think it was like 40 by 60 or something. It was just this humongous backyard pool. But it went with the property and the home and the size, and we designed it ourselves and had a barbecue that was built down in, and bar stools inside the pool, and it was very fun to do. So if that's a dream of yours, you can do that. If you guys want to design stuff and build things and you're free. You're free all day long. I mean, there's times when Glenn will just rent a tractor for a couple of days, and he'll move from dirt from this side to this side, and I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, just cleaning up. And he'll just move dirt back and forth like a guy on his little Tonka toy truck. It's very cute. But so now we've actually taken out the golf course and taken out the lakes, kind of went through that, and now we have vineyards. There's like 20 plus vineyards out in Temecula. That's kind of the big thing, is wine and jazz out there. And what's funny is we don't drink wine. So we don't know anything about these grapes, but we had a great guy come and put the grapes all in. So we have 2.5 acres of vineyard. And we had just gone to Italy last year, so now we want it to look like Italy when we got home. So we made it looking Tuscan looking, and then the vineyards. And Glenn's a singer, so he's out singing to the grapes and the wine, and hopefully that's supposed to make them better. I don't know. Supposed to make them sweeter, Oh, sole mio, or whatever he sings. I don't know what he sings out there. Maybe I need to have Joe. Joe needs to come and sing for us. But, just fun things that we've been able to do. We bought another home in Las Vegas. And our son and daughter-in-law live out there part-time and live in California. Our son and daughter-in-law are super active. I'll tell you about them in a minute. But she was born and raised in Vegas, and we were all going out there so much. And so we were I think it was Achievers, maybe 2 Decembers ago. And while we were out there, we found a home, and we bought a home in Las Vegas. So that's kind of fun to have a place to go out there. Travel, if travel is something you guys like to do, oh my gosh, you are going to travel your hearts out in this business. And Glenn can tell you some of the fun stories and places we've been, but like he said, Peter Island is our favorite. I mean, Peter Island, you just feel like you own the island when you're there. They serve you, you have full servants and staff that anything you want you get, any food you want. If you want to make you protein drinks, they'll do that every day. I mean, their chocolate chip cookies are these huge $5 chocolate chip cookies. You can eat all you want. Hamburgers are $20. You can eat all you want. I mean, anything you want, you can have it all day. World-class spa. People come from islands all around to come to that spa. I mean, it's amazing. And we've gone there, I think, 11 times. Now, if jewelry is something you're into, I got in this business, had no jewelry. We didn't have wedding rings, nothing. And we went on our very first Peter Island trip. I think there was 12 or 14 of us diamond couples that went. And Brad and Julie Duncan, that was when Brad bought Julie this big 5-6 carat diamond ring. And I mean, I walked through there and I was like hyperventilating because you see, if you go to your local mall, you don't see big stuff in your local mall. It's big stuff in Peter Island. I mean, everything is huge. And if you're in the Amway business, they'll say, take it, wear it to lunch, wear it back to the island. And if you want it, send us a check. And if you don't want it, just get it back to us before you leave. I mean, I've worn big, huge emerald necklaces to Hard Rock Cafe. I've worn big bracelets and jewelry and all kinds of stuff out of there. And so we were there, and what the guys always do, girls, this is totally cool. What the guys always do is all the girls fly over by helicopter on a Tuesday, and we land right in town in Peter Island, and you shop all day long. Go look at all the jewelry stores, and, we're all walking together and having a ball, looking at everything that everybody loves. The guys, and Norma Folio, if you know her, the guys and Norma, they go on to St. John, I think it is, and golf for the morning. They helicopter on and land right on the golf course, and they golf in St. John for the morning, and then the helicopter brings them over to St. Thomas, and we show the guys all the things that we found. And it works out very well. And then, but it seems like no one's really buying anything. And then when you get back to Peter Island that night at dinner, then there's diamond rings in the bread bowl, and there's diamond bracelets in the water glass. And I mean, there's just all these fun things. I'm going, oh my gosh, to teach our boys how to treat their wives like that, is that the coolest thing? Because they hear it. They hear it talked about. They hear the cool things that the guys do for their wives in this business that they would have never thought to do. You talk about guys that forget to get their wives a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day. I mean, we're talking, these guys teach our boys, our men, how to treat their wives. I mean, that's why I say I'm over-gifted. It's just amazing how the guys treat us in this business, and I love every bit of it. And it's just amazing. So let me just get to family, and I'll finish up. Our family legacy, this is our family business. Our kids have grown up in it. Our kids have listened to tapes since they were 3 and 5. They've been in the cars. We turned off the radio and turned on a tape. And our kids started learning who the people were. We started talking about how we love this diamond and love this diamond and love this emerald. And we'd see them and we'd go on incentive trips and we started growing, and our kids, the diamonds and emeralds became our kids' heroes. And that's who they wanted to be around. And they wanted to live like we lived, because we were free from the time they were pretty early on, and so they couldn't imagine having to have a job for the rest of their life because they've seen how we've lived. And they wanted to help other kids. They'd always ask us, are you helping their parents get free? Are you helping their parents get free? And so our kids knew this is what we did. And now our son and daughter, Trevor and Lexi, he's 26, Lexi's 26, they met at an FED at a function. And she was building the business as single, and he was building the business single. They met there, and they've been married now for 4 years, and they are dynamos. They are just, I mean, we learn from them. We have Trevor teach our group how to contact and invite because he had to learn it the hard knocks way. Everyone that he knew were his friends in our business, were our Platinum's kids, and everybody in the business, that's who his environment kind of was. So they were either already in or not getting in, or their parents were already in, so that's where they would go. And so he learned, and so they're just amazing. And Lexi is just as little dynamic gal. She's the best gal for him. It's awesome. And so they got married 4 years ago. Tim Goad, if any of you know the Goads, Tim and Gay Goad and the Goad family. Tim Goad actually came to our home and married him. Kurt sang Diamond Lady at the reception. Carolyn sang, I think she sang You Lift Me Up. She sang at the wedding. And so we had the whole Goad family involved. It was just awesome. And then Summer, our daughter Summer, who I think she was in the video, was she, posing? And so she met her husband at the gym last October. And she met him at the gym, and she was drinking some Perfect Water, and he was drinking Perfect Water, and they started talking. He said by the second time they were together, he knew that's who he was going to spend the rest of his life with. Ends up that he'd been in the business for 10 years, just inactive, downline from his mom in another line of sponsorship. And they got engaged Christmas Eve and were married in March, and they are just going nuts in this business because they're going wide. They're putting in the right foundation. We talked about going wide. They're going wide and going deep and doing house plans in depth. And it's funny because they're 4,000s. They have about 60 people coming to Dream Night. And just today was her first day to do an artistry clinic. She decided to go in for a bunch of girls that were already in the business and just expose them to artistry products, do like no-talk stuff and show them the, no-talk products. She sent me a message. She goes, my first artistry clinic, my husband's taking me out to celebrate. I made it through it. She goes, I hyperventilated at first, and I had to stop and take some deep breaths. And she goes, but I did it. And she felt so proud that she did it. But they are wanting to do what we do. They want to live like we live. They want to get free. Her husband, if you talk about schedules, her husband is a blackjack dealer at Pechanga Indian Reservation in Temecula. So he works from 8 at night until 4 in the morning. So the time that they have plans to show are throughout the day. They'll set plans and follow-ups anytime they can throughout the day, and then he has Sunday and Monday off. And so that's when he does his board plans where he works distance kind of stuff is on his day off. But they are rocking this business. And it's so fun to have our family in, to be building this business knowing that this is what our line of sponsorship, our lineage, our kids and their kids, we talk about our family dreams and what we're going to do as a family, and that they're going to have their yacht and we're going to have our yacht, and we're going to travel places together, and all of us park them right next to each other so we can go on each other's places. I mean, our kids are bigger dreamers than we are because they've hung around bigger dreamers. They've hung around bigger dreamers longer than we have. And so it is just awesome. We are having a great time. And I just want you to know that we believe in you, that if Glenn and I can do this business, you can do this business. You can do everything we've done. We believe in you. We are proud of you for making this a priority in your life, to treating it important, being willing to set aside some of those non-productive things that you're doing and realize that it's your family's future that you're fighting for. So we believe in you. We love you. Thanks for letting us share. Thank you for accepting us, for being so warm to us. And thank you all the Diamonds backstage for just loving on us. We just are thankful for you guys for having dreams and growing. And we believe in you that you guys can go Diamond. So I hope you do too.
Thanks, babe. Well, I was just backstage here listening, and I know that she went through and shared with you that I used to faint. It's a true story. Fear. I can remember being brand new Diamonds, speaking at a Go Diamond weekend. That's an event we have in the you may have similar. And I remember walking out, and I remember being overwhelmed and beginning to kind of lose my way. Next thing you know, I just pretty much blacked out. But that wasn't the first time. I started doing that way back at board plans. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. In fact, I haven't done it for a while. The truth of the matter is, I started thinking maybe that was part of kind of a secret, really. I grew fast, so I'm thinking any moment now it'd probably be a good idea if I fainted in front of all of you, and you'd all believe, wow, I can do this. If that crazy guy can build this business, anybody can. I mean, it wasn't pretty, to be honest with you. We just got busy and built it. And I just think, what a forgiving business. We're not judging anybody. We don't, I love it because we don't look back. And I mean, we have a past, and you need to understand that past is building who you are, and you can change the direction. But nowhere in the Amway opportunity, any of your upline, do we care, really, whether or not you're coming into the business with all these great accomplishments or not. I have to tell you, the secret is whether or not you're hungry and you want to do something great with your life and you want to have your wildest dreams come true. And that's where we were in 1989. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, about 2 years before Joy and I ever saw this business, I was in a complete funk in my career as an insurance agent. I went to work every day, didn't really have any big goals. I just kind of took care of a book of business, was wandering just aimlessly. Debts were mounting, and she explained that. Just the year prior to seeing the plan, the IRS slapped us with a big, giant, at that time to us it was giant, it was like a $27,000 tax lien against our home. And of course, I used to be sort of embarrassed when I'd have to explain that. I never talked about it until after we paid it off. And then I realized I probably should have, because there's all kinds of people out there that have and maybe not you, but there's lots of people out there, they don't want to talk about it. They're having those kinds of issues. And maybe you haven't had a lien against your home. You've had that other thing they do to your wages. What's that called? Well, apparently you're all very familiar with that. That cat just came out a little bit too freely, gang. I just want you to know. And we had it all. We had a mess. And to be truthful with you, gang, I became an insurance broker by accident. I ran from college, got out of college early. Joya was obviously very good at school. I was very bad at school. And so I was quickly off into finding my way and backdoored my way into the insurance industry. And so today I look back on that and think, well, no wonder it wasn't providing me the lifestyle, the wildest dreams that Joy and I wanted in our lives. I mean, how could anything that you do that, number one, is by accident, and then you never really check the fruit to see if it's going to get you the big dreams and goals you want. And so there's no question that by the time this business came along, or even before this business came along in our lives, we were in trouble. And I really got to a point, and please, I'm not trying to, I know there's insurance people in this room. For me, I hated going to work. I hated to be under a general agent or working for somebody that was, I just was so, but when I started, it was the best thing for me. It gave me something to work with and under. But after I started to grow a little bit and grow up a little bit, man, it was just the worst experience of my life. I hated what I was doing in 1989. And it's really amazing because out of the blue, a phone call happens. And all of you have had that moment, I would guess. And prior to that phone call, if somebody would have asked me, if they would have said, Glenn, you think you'll ever be in the Amway business? I got to be honest with you, gang. That is the last thing on my mind that I would have ever have done. I would have told you there is no way on earth, just based on the ignorance in my mind of what it was. I used to never tie any success. I just thought it was a mom and pop, door to door kind of a little thing. And So when the phone call came in from an old high school buddy, oh yeah, but there was just one distinguishing difference. That high school friend, I hadn't seen him since high school, but he impressed me enough. He had enough influence in my mind because he was a go-getter back in high school that I said, okay, Brent, hey man, if you're excited about it. In fact, his invite, I mean, this is a major, this was like the most, he said to me, he says, Glenn, I promise you it'll raise your eyebrows. And I went, wait a minute, I kind of like where my eyebrows are at. I thought that is the lamest invite I have ever heard in my life, but he still got the plan in front of us. Now here's the better part of the story. So he booked a plan with us. And then the day of the plan, no kidding, I call him on the phone, go, hey, you know what, it's just not a good day, let's reschedule. And it was a message on his phone, on his message machine. I didn't even have the guts to actually get a hold of him and talk to him live, so it was a reschedule. I think he called me back up to say, hey, sorry about that, I got your message, blah, blah, blah. Then we rescheduled about another month later. In fact, this began to happen from about November, then in the month of December of 89, as the year wrapped up, had another meeting scheduled. Promptly the day of the meeting, I canceled it again. Called him up literally the day of the meeting. Hey, Brent, got a lot going on right now. Tonight's not going to work. Hey, get back to me. So a month later, January, right back on the phone with me, booking another plan, and the day of the meeting, I canceled it again. And then the best thing he could have done happened, and that is we rescheduled it in early February of 89, and the day of the meeting, there you go again, I was all set, and I picked up the telephone, I called him up, I left just the most eloquent cancellation message you've ever heard in your life. It was just awesome. Gave him all the reasons why we were unavailable, got some business things going on, and proceeded to hang up the phone, and I thought that was it. I go, we're out of it again. Ain't it great, honey? And guess what? Total lie, to be honest with you. Totally not true. In fact, that night, here's the scene. I'm at home. Joya's in the kitchen doing whatever she's doing, cleaning up or whatever and doing some kitchen work. The kids are all doing something throughout the house, running around, playing games. Back then, so long ago, it was probably some old video, Atari or something, And I'm laying on the couch in my gym pants with holes in the knees. They were bright red gym pants with my dress shirt still on, untucked. And I'm laying on the couch watching TV, okay? And it was a warm, I remember it being a warm, or not a freezing cold, it was warm enough to where our garage door was open and the screen was open through the garage so that I could literally hear what was going out on the street. We lived in a little tight neighborhood where and if you live in a neighborhood any length of time, you get very accustomed to the sounds of the neighbors. When hey, Bob's home, you can hear his rickety truck come home, and you hear this sound, and you know that Betsy just got back from the store. You know what I'm saying? And this time I hear a squeak of a brake. Literally, I'm laying on the couch watching TV, kind of I'm in B for nothing, just laying there watching TV, and I hear this squeak of a brakes, and I roll off onto one arm, and I look out there, and I see the rear end of a Mercedes pulled out by our mailbox, and I'm kind of going, what's that? Who's that? And I'm thinking, oh no. And I spring up from the couch, and I go to the front door, and I'm looking through, and I shut all the doors inside, and I look through the people, and up walks Brent, my high school buddy, to the door, and he knocks, and I open the door, and of course, there I am, all just a picture of success. And I go, Brent, good to see you, but didn't you get my message? And Brent goes, you left a message? Now, that was brilliant because he got my message. He just decided he was going to show up to he was sick and tired of what I was doing to avoid him, and he showed up to my house anyway, and he proceeds to come in, and of course we go, oh, okay, yeah, well, sure. And now I'm trying to think, well, I told him we were all busy. We had things going on. We were too busy. TV's on. Kids are playing. Joy's in the kitchen. She comes around washing her hands, drying her hands off in the kitchen. And Brent walks in. And I can tell. Brent's smart enough to go, uh-huh, yeah, right. This is a real critical situation going on here. And he walks in and he shows us this plan. And it's the difference between, and I wouldn't even say it was the perfect plan. I can't even say it was the perfect moment. We certainly didn't give him the most perfect environment. In fact, I went in, and here's was my posture. I went back in and laid on the couch, looking at him while he drew it on the coffee table. Joya was up in her chair, leaning forward, listening, because he's talking about dreams and travel and freedom and debt-free and money, and I'm watching her going, oh, no. He has got her wrapped up in this, and we're listening, and we keep listening, and he's catching my heart too. He's talking about debt-free. Nobody talks about that. I mean, there's many of you in this room that might be, but most people that have a job, you're not. In fact, that kind of goes hand in hand with having a job. I think jobs never pay you enough to pay cash for anything, but they pay you enough to finance everything, and that's where we were at. And he talked about debt-free, and he talked about bringing Joya home, and I'm going, wow, that's wild. And then he goes, and to top that, you can build enough income in this business so one day you can be free. And man, I'd tell you right now, that I could be free statement was electrifying to me, because I had spent 11 years prior to that in something I didn't want to be in. Now, was I bad at it? No. Was I could do it. I could sell. I could do it. But it just was no longer in my dream. It was no longer in my vision. It had nothing. It was just what I did for 11 years to get to that point. Now, can you make money in it? Of course you can. I'm not saying you can't. Problem is, I want to be free. I want to live free. I needed to pay off $160,000 in debts. That's credit cards and all the nonsense we had, plus the IRS lien is where we were in '89. So here's the picture. I hated my job. We have $160,000 in IRS liens. I don't have a vision to keep doing that. Joya works. Our kids are in daycare and being taken care of by babysitters all the time, and so on and so forth. And I would say that we were headed in a very, very bad direction with no answer. And along comes this plan. Next thing we do is we listen to a tape. Next thing we do is in fact, we were sort of so already going, let's do this thing, that the little box they gave us with some CDs, we didn't even actually listen to them for several days, then finally popped them in and got even more excited. Next thing they did is they took us, just like I explained today, next thing you know, they take us to a function, and we get a chance to see another diamond couple get up there and speak, and man, I was wowed by their love for each other, their talk of their marriage, their country, their spiritual lives, their family lives. Man, and I don't know if any of you know of or have heard of. In our life, that meeting was the diamonds that were there were a couple named Joe and Norma Folio, and they were possibly they were just mesmerizing to us. And here's what was so funny. We fought all the way. In fact, that particular function, we still didn't even understand the power of functions, to be honest with you. The very first one we were supposed to go to. So I did everything all that day on Saturday to try to come up with something else I could do. Even though we were building it, we were excited. I did everything I could not to go to this meeting that was happening on Saturday night where a diamond couple was up speaking. I'm thinking, well, let's go bowling, let's go to the movies, and finally I went, darn, I can't think of anything to do. Okay, Brent, we'll go with you to the function. And that was the first night we ever sat in the back. That was the last night, and the first night and the last night we were, and don't take this wrong, everybody sits, wherever they want. But in our case, we walked in and we sat in the back, and our sponsors, we were still arguing a bit, so our sponsors sat right between us. And I sat on one side and Joya sat on the other. And the very, very first time we ever seen a pin recognition, we watched these new thousands come across. And please forgive me, pray for me, because I need a lot of prayer, because my attitude sometimes in the early days, I was very cocky, very egotistical, very driven, and I say that in the worst kind of sense back then. Just very sharp-tongued, ready to just, very cutting. And I needed to learn, and I needed to realize different things. Well, 1,000 pins would walk across the stage, and I'd lean forward to Joya, and someone would go, hi, we're Bob and Susan Smith, and we're new 1,000 pins, and my sponsor's so-and-so. And Joya and I, every time anybody would walk across that stage and be recognized for hitting 1,000 or 2,500, I'd lean forward to Joya, and I'd look at her and I'd go, we are going to be rich. Because I thought, if they can do it, and I didn't know what 1,000 was. 1,000 to me, they all looked dressed up, they all looked sharp, they just sounded, everybody sounded sharp, and I'm thinking, man, if they can do this, we're going to be so rich, it's unbelievable. And boy, we came out of there and we flew out of that meeting fired up. And from that moment on, I think I made the statement today, we've never missed, I mean, there is nothing. And we moved very quickly in our mind. We everything we could to get in the action. And I don't mean where you set matters, but to us, we had to be right up here, and we went to meetings early. We went because we thought any little tidbit we could get, any little extra diamond dust we could get on us, we were going to do it. We put our blinders on, as I mentioned today, so it's important I mention it again because it's going to be an issue and every one of you guys is building a business. We stopped the nonsense. Have you all heard me make that statement for maybe one too many times this weekend? Now, you all know what that means now. That's the stuff that's unimportant that you have dragging your energy, pulling your creativity. They will be people that do not want to go where you want to go. And you have got to call woe to all that energy being drained in all those directions. You got to tell people no. You got to learn to say no. In fact, the better you get in this business, the more tapes you listen to, CDs, the more good information that goes in, you're going to become a 10 times better you. And before you know it, you're going to have everybody pulling at you, wanting you to do all these things, civic things and church-related things. And while it's all fantastic, you got one job, and that is you got a job to get your family free so that you can do everything you want to do and do it first class. And I'll tell you what, Joy and I went after this thing.
While the techniques and approaches suggested have worked for others, no one can guarantee that these techniques and approaches will work for you. In addition, we want to emphasize that success in this business does not come without hard work. The success depicted in this profile may reflect income from sources other than Amway, such as earnings from the sale of training and education materials or other businesses and investments. For existing IBOs only.